Waking up at 3 a.m. provides an opportunity for profound self-reflection, something we often overlook during our busy daily lives. In the rush of everyday responsibilities, work, family, and social commitments, our minds are constantly engaged, and we rarely take the time to pause and reflect on our own personal journeys. This early morning wake-up could be seen as a gentle reminder from God, calling us to step away from the noise and distractions of the world and focus inward. During this quiet and still hour, everything around us is still. There's no hustle and bustle, no phone calls, and no interruptions. It's in these peaceful moments that we can hear our inner voice more clearly. This stillness allows us to contemplate where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. It's a sacred time to ask ourselves difficult but necessary questions. Are we on the path we truly want to be on? Are we fulfilling our spiritual, emotional, and personal potential? Are there unresolved matters in our hearts that need healing? Reflection at this hour is not just about looking back, it's about looking inward and considering the deeper aspects of who we are and who we want to become. This is when the soul is most open to receiving the answers we seek, and often the Holy Spirit speaks to us in subtle, quiet ways that would be hard to hear during the busy parts of the day. It's as if God is offering us a space where we can truly hear our hearts and reflect on our purpose, our choices, and the direction we want to take. In the early morning hours, God may be giving us the opportunity to reevaluate our actions, decisions, and priorities. Are we living in alignment with our values and spiritual beliefs? Are there areas of our lives where we need to course correct? This is a time for self-examination, a moment to assess our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being without external distractions pulling us in every direction. It's a time when God might be urging us to reassess how we are spending our time, the people we surround ourselves with, and the thoughts we allow to dominate our minds. In this space, reflection isn't about regret or self-criticism. Rather, it's a time for clarity and growth. God may be waking us up at 3 a.m. to show us a fresh perspective, to help us see things from a higher vantage point, or to give us the insight we need to make a decision we've been grappling with. This kind of reflection brings healing. It offers a chance to release past hurts, to forgive, and to move forward with renewed hope and understanding. For many, this time of quiet reflection can also be a moment to reconnect with God and listen for His guidance. God's voice is often soft, subtle, and gentle, but when we are still and quiet, we are able to hear it more clearly. At 3 a.m., when distractions are minimal, we may be more in tune with His presence, able to hear what He's trying to teach us, and more open to His guidance. Ultimately, waking up at 3 a.m. for reflection is a sacred invitation to look deeper within ourselves. It allows us to take stock of where we've been, where we're headed, and what's truly important in our lives. It's an invitation from God to align our thoughts, actions, and intentions with our higher purpose, and to ensure that we are living in harmony with His plan for us. Waking up at 3 a.m. can be seen as an invitation from God to enter into a deeper, more intimate conversation with Him. It is during these still, quiet hours that we are most likely to hear His whispers of guidance, direction, and peace. In the midst of the world's busyness, we often struggle to find time for prayer, meditation, or moments of silence. But in the solitude of the early morning, God may be calling us to reconnect with Him and open ourselves up to His wisdom and guidance. The early hours of the morning are often free from the noise and distractions of daily life. There are no emails to respond to, no meetings to attend, and no external pressures pulling at us. This emptiness is an invitation to fill our minds with spiritual thoughts and to listen to what God has to say. It is as if the Lord is providing a sacred space where we can be fully present with Him, allowing His voice to penetrate deeply into our hearts and minds. Divine guidance doesn't always come in a loud, dramatic way. In fact, it often comes in the form of a quiet nudge or a subtle thought that comes to mind. At 3 a.m., when our minds are more attuned to the quietness, we may find that our hearts are more open to receiving this divine direction. God may speak to us through a scripture, a thought that we hadn't considered before, or even a sudden sense of peace about a situation that had previously troubled us. This kind of guidance can be a gentle reminder to trust in His timing, His plan, and His purpose for our lives. In these quiet moments, God may also be prompting us to pray not just for ourselves, but for others. We may feel an inexplicable burden for someone close to us or even for a stranger we've never met. This could be God's way of inviting us to intercede on their behalf, asking for His intervention, comfort, or blessings in their lives. Our prayers at 3 a.m. may be part of a larger divine plan where God uses us as vessels to bring about healing and hope in ways we may never fully understand. The 3 a.m. wake-up call may also be God's way of asking us to reflect on specific areas of our lives where we need direction. Perhaps there's a decision weighing on us, something we've been hesitant to act on or uncertain about. During the quiet of the night, God may be bringing that decision to the forefront of our minds, offering clarity and wisdom about the next step to take. Whether it's in relationships, career choices, or spiritual matters, these moments of divine guidance help us discern the path that God wants us to walk. Furthermore, God may wake us at 3 a.m. to teach us the importance of stillness and patience. Sometimes we may be seeking guidance but don't feel ready to listen. Our minds may be cluttered with worries, doubts, and anxieties that drown out the voice of God. But in the solitude of the early morning, we are given a precious opportunity to silence those distractions and simply be present in His presence. It's as if God is saying, "In the stillness, you will hear me more clearly. In the quiet, I will reveal what you need to know." Divine guidance isn't always about receiving clear instructions on what to do next. Sometimes it's about hearing God's reassurance that He is with us and that everything will unfold according to His plan. It's about understanding that, even in the uncertainty, He is guiding us, providing us with the strength and peace we need to navigate life's challenges. Through these early morning moments, we learn to trust in God's providence and His ability to lead us with wisdom and love. Ultimately, waking up at 3 a.m. for divine guidance is a sacred opportunity to lean into God's presence, to listen for His voice, and to be open to the ways He wants to lead us. It's in these moments that we can receive the clarity, peace, and direction we need, strengthening our trust in Him as the ultimate source of wisdom and guidance in our lives. Waking up at 3 a.m. can often be the moment when we are most vulnerable to facing unresolved emotional issues that have been lingering beneath the surface. During the day, we may be too busy to truly confront these emotions, pushing them aside to carry out our responsibilities and obligations. But in the quiet of the early morning, when the world around us is at rest, God may be calling us to face these emotional barriers head-on. This is a moment when we are invited to reflect on the emotional struggles we have been avoiding and to allow God to help us work through them. Emotions that are left unaddressed can become like weights around our hearts, dragging us down and affecting every area of our lives. Whether it's grief over the loss of a loved one, unresolved anger from a past experience, or anxiety about the future, these emotions can quietly build up, impacting our relationships, our health, and our peace of mind. At 3 a.m., when everything else is still, we may be more open to examining these emotions in a safe, uninterrupted space. God may be using this time to gently guide us toward healing. In these quiet hours, we can be more attuned to the pain we may have been avoiding. Sometimes we are not fully aware of the emotional scars we carry. They can be buried so deeply that we forget they even exist, only for them to resurface when we are still. This is where God's presence can be so powerful. He is able to shine a light on those hidden areas of our hearts that need attention, bringing them to the surface so they can be healed. It may be uncomfortable, even painful, but it is also an opportunity to release the emotional baggage that has been weighing us down. When we wake up at 3 a.m. and feel a rush of sadness, anger, or fear, it can be tempting to ignore those feelings and go back to sleep. But in those moments, God may be prompting us to lean into those emotions, to sit with them and to process them. By acknowledging and releasing these emotions, we make space for healing and transformation. God can help us navigate through these difficult feelings, offering His comfort, peace, and wisdom to help us let go of what no longer serves us. For many, the 3 a.m. wake-up call is a chance to address the unresolved grief that we may have buried deep within. Loss can be one of the most difficult emotions to process, and often we are too busy to allow ourselves the time to grieve properly. But in the stillness of the night, God can help us revisit that grief, not to bring more pain, but to allow us to experience healing. He can provide us with the emotional release we need, helping us to surrender our pain and trust that He will bring us peace in time. Anger, too, can be something that many of us hold on to for far too long. Whether it's anger toward a person who has wronged us, frustration with life's circumstances, or unresolved resentment toward ourselves, anger can prevent us from experiencing true peace. God may use the quiet of 3 a.m. to allow us to acknowledge this anger and begin the process of releasing it. This doesn't mean that we have to forgive everything immediately, but it's a chance to begin the journey of letting go, of allowing ourselves to heal from the wounds that anger creates. Anxiety and worry about the future are another emotional barrier that many people struggle with. At 3 a.m., when everything is calm, our minds can sometimes race with thoughts of what lies ahead. We may find ourselves questioning our choices, our purpose, or our ability to handle what's to come. But in these quiet hours, God may be calling us to surrender our fears to Him. It's a time to trust that no matter how uncertain the future may seem, He is in control and will provide the strength and guidance we need. This can be a powerful moment of releasing our need for control and placing our trust in God's perfect plan. Breaking through emotional barriers is not always a quick or easy process. It requires patience, vulnerability, and a willingness to allow God to guide us through our pain. However, the 3 a.m. wake-up call can be seen as a divine invitation to begin this process, to confront the emotions we've been avoiding, and to allow God to heal and restore our hearts. As we release these emotional burdens, we create space for peace, joy, and spiritual growth to flourish in our lives. Waking up at 3 a.m. may seem like a random or inconvenient occurrence, but it can be interpreted as a profound call from God to strengthen our faith. This time, when the world is still and our minds are more attuned to deeper thoughts, may be a sacred invitation to refocus on our relationship with God and to renew our trust in Him. It's a moment when we can pause and reflect on how far we have come in our spiritual journey and where we may need to deepen our connection with the divine. Faith is not a one-time decision. It's an ongoing, evolving relationship that requires consistent nurturing and care. In our daily lives, it can be easy to become distracted by the pressures and challenges that demand our attention. We might begin to rely more on our own understanding and less on God's guidance. This 3 a.m. wake-up call may be a way for God to gently remind us that our faith needs to be nurtured continuously. It is during these quiet, intimate moments that we can reconnect with the Lord, rekindle our spiritual fire, and remind ourselves of His promises. In the early morning stillness, God often calls us to renew our commitment to trust in Him. Faith, after all, is not just about believing in God when everything is going well. It is also about trusting Him when things are difficult, uncertain, or overwhelming. This is when we need faith the most. When our circumstances are trying, and our hearts are heavy with doubt. Waking up at 3 a.m. could be a gentle reminder that we need to return to our foundation, to trust that God is in control, even when the world feels out of balance. God might also use this time to challenge us to take our faith to the next level. Perhaps we have been going through the motions, merely existing in our spiritual walk, but not truly living out our faith with the conviction that it deserves. The quiet of the early morning is an opportunity to ask ourselves, how can we be more intentional about living out our faith? Are there areas of our lives where we have been holding back, where God is asking us to step out in faith? This might be a time to reflect on how we can be more courageous in our faith journey, to seek opportunities for growth and deeper connection with the divine. Moreover, 3 a.m. is often the time when God draws us near to His heart and asks us to rely more deeply on His presence. In moments of vulnerability, we are more likely to open our hearts to God. In our struggles, doubts, or moments of loneliness, God's presence can feel especially close. Waking up at 3 a.m. may be an invitation to lean on Him, to surrender our worries and fears, and to trust in His divine plan. It's a call to deepen our reliance on God's power, grace, and provision, acknowledging that we cannot navigate life's challenges alone. Through prayer and meditation in these quiet hours, our faith is fortified, and we are reminded of God's unwavering love and faithfulness. Additionally, this 3 a.m. call to strengthen faith can be an opportunity to remember that God is always with us, even when we don't feel Him. It can be easy to doubt or feel distant from God when we are going through a tough season. But the 3 a.m. moments are a reminder that He is always near. We may not see the full picture or understand why things are happening the way they are, but we are called to trust that God is working behind the scenes. This is the essence of faith, the belief that even when we can't see or understand, God is still moving in our lives. During these quiet moments, we may also feel prompted to ask God to strengthen our faith in specific areas of our lives. Whether it's in relationships, career decisions, health, or personal challenges, this time of reflection can lead to prayerful conversations with God, asking for increased faith in His ability to guide us. At 3 a.m., our minds are free from the noise and distractions, which allows us to focus more intently on the areas of life where we need God's strength. This might be the perfect time to call out to Him, asking for wisdom, courage, or direction, knowing that He hears and answers our prayers in His perfect timing. Ultimately, the 3 a.m. wake-up call is a divine invitation to reignite and deepen our faith. It's a chance to reconnect with God on a deeper level, to acknowledge the areas where we've struggled to trust, and to reaffirm our commitment to living by faith even in the midst of uncertainty. It is during these quiet early moments that we can hear God's voice most clearly, reminding us of His presence, His promises, and His unwavering love. Waking up at 3 a.m. can often be seen as a powerful invitation for healing and restoration, both spiritually and emotionally. At this quiet hour, when everything around us is still, God can work in profound ways to heal the brokenness in our hearts, minds, and bodies. Healing is an ongoing process, and sometimes we need moments of stillness to allow God to reach deep into the places where pain, trauma, or fear may be hiding. These early hours may be a time for God to gently guide us toward wholeness, restoration, and peace, helping us to release what has been weighing us down. When we think of healing, many of us may immediately think of physical ailments. However, emotional wounds and spiritual struggles are often just as impactful, and sometimes they are more difficult to address. Throughout our lives, we accumulate experiences, losses, disappointments, and challenges that leave scars on our hearts. We may not even realize how deeply these wounds affect us until a moment of quiet presents itself, allowing us to feel the depth of the pain. The 3 a.m. wake-up call is a divine divine opportunity to face these hidden hurts and allow God to work in us, bringing healing and comfort where there has been sorrow or despair. In these sacred, quiet moments, God's presence can be especially powerful. There's something about the stillness of the early morning that makes it easier to experience His peace and comfort. At 3 am, our distractions are minimal and our hearts may be more open to receiving the restorative love that God offers. It is during these times that we can let go of any lingering bitterness, regret, or sorrow and allow God to replace it with peace and hope. It's an opportunity to lay down our burdens at His feet, trusting that He will bring restoration to the areas of our lives that need it most. Healing and restoration often require us to confront our past, whether it's unresolved grief from a loved one's passing, hurt from a painful experience, or a trauma from a painful experience. God may use the stillness of 3 am to gently bring those memories to the surface, not to cause further pain, but to allow us to process and release them. In His loving presence, we are given the grace to forgive others and ourselves and to move forward with a renewed sense of freedom. God's healing work isn't just about alleviating pain. It's about restoring us to the wholeness we were always meant to experience. This time of restoration can also extend to our relationship with God. Sometimes we may feel distant from God, whether due to sin, doubt, or busyness. The 3 am wake-up call could be God's invitation to restore that connection, to heal the spiritual wounds that have caused separation or disconnection. In these moments, we can come before God with open hearts, acknowledging our need for His healing touch and allowing Him to rebuild our relationship with Him. He offers us forgiveness, grace, and love, drawing us back into His presence where we can experience His peace and strength. Healing is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process. Sometimes we need these quiet moments in the middle of the night to allow God to do deep work within us. Whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual healing, these moments are an opportunity for God to restore us, piece by piece, to the person He created us to be. In the solitude of 3 am, God can reveal areas of our lives that still need healing, offering us the courage and wisdom to face them head-on. This is a sacred time of restoration where God's love and grace are poured out abundantly, bringing us closer to the wholeness we long for. Furthermore, the 3 am hour can be a time to not only heal from past wounds, but also to restore our vision for the future. Sometimes, after experiencing hardship or pain, we lose sight of the hope and purpose that once inspired us. God's healing touch at 3 am can help us restore our sense of vision and purpose, reminding us of the dreams, goals, and passions that still lie ahead. He may use this time to give us a renewed sense of direction, reigniting our hope for the future and helping us to move forward with confidence and trust in His plan. In these quiet moments, God's restorative power can work in ways that we may not even fully understand. Whether it's a healing of the heart, mind, or spirit, God is always at work, gently bringing us back to a place of peace, wholeness, and restoration. The 3 am wake-up call is not just a random event. It's a divine invitation to allow God's healing work to take place, bringing us closer to the person He designed us to be and restoring our relationship with Him. Waking up at 3 am can be seen as a powerful moment of divine preparation, offering us the opportunity to spiritually and mentally prepare for the challenges of the day ahead. Life can often feel overwhelming, with responsibilities, decisions, and tasks constantly demanding our attention. However, in the peacefulness of the early morning, God may be calling us to take a moment to center ourselves, pray, and seek His guidance before we face the rush of the day. This time of preparation allows us to set the tone for the hours ahead, and invites God to be the foundation on which we build our day. In our busy lives, we often wake up with an overwhelming list of things to do, and the moment we get out of bed, we are immediately swept into the chaos. There's little time to pause and reflect before we start taking action. But when God wakes us up at 3 a.m., it's a divine invitation to shift our perspective. Instead of rushing into the day without taking a moment to breathe, we are invited to take a step back, ground ourselves in God's presence, and allow Him to guide us through the day. In this stillness, we can surrender our worries, anxieties, and plans to God, trusting that He will lead us in each decision and encounter. This preparation time is also an opportunity to align our hearts with God's will. We may have a general sense of what needs to be done, but at 3 a.m. we can bring our plans before God, seeking His direction. The early morning is a time when we can ask for His wisdom in how we navigate the day's challenges, whether it's a difficult conversation, a work decision, or a personal challenge. By seeking God's guidance before the day even begins, we open ourselves up to His direction, making it more likely that we will align our actions with His will throughout the day. Moreover, this time of preparation allows us to begin the day with a sense of peace and confidence. Rather than rushing through the morning in a flurry of anxiety, we can start our day with a sense of calm, knowing that we are grounded in God's presence and trust in His ability to help us handle whatever comes our way. This peaceful beginning can set the tone for the entire day, helping us to approach challenges with a positive attitude and a sense of purpose. In these quiet moments, God may also be helping us to prepare emotionally and spiritually for what lies ahead. We all face struggles, disappointments, and unexpected challenges throughout the day. But if we take the time at 3 a.m. to invite God into those areas of our lives, we can better handle the difficulties that come our way. Whether it's a stressful workday, a tough conversation, or a personal struggle, God's presence can help us face these challenges with a calm heart, trusting that He is with us every step of the way. Additionally, the early morning can be a time of physical preparation as well. If we've been feeling exhausted, mentally drained, or physically unwell, this moment can be a time to pray for strength and renewal. Often, when we're caught up in the busyness of life, we neglect our bodies, but at 3 a.m., we can ask God to rejuvenate us physically so that we have the energy we need to meet the demands of the day. God's preparation isn't limited to just our minds or hearts. It can extend to our physical well-being as well, giving us the strength and vitality to tackle the day ahead. Taking time to prepare at 3 a.m. also allows us to mentally organize our priorities for the day. It's a time to reflect on what truly matters and to set our intentions. Instead of reacting to whatever comes our way, we can approach the day with a clear sense of purpose. What are the most important tasks we need to focus on? What relationships need attention? What goals are we working toward? When we spend time in prayer and reflection at 3 a.m., we can ask God to help us prioritize wisely, ensuring that we approach the day in alignment with our values and purpose. This early morning preparation can also be a time for gratitude. Often, when we wake up, we are consumed with the stress and uncertainty of the day ahead. But God may be calling us to begin with thankfulness. At 3 a.m., when we are more focused, we can take a moment to count our blessings and thank God for the opportunities, relationships, and experiences that await us. Gratitude has the power to shift our perspective, helping us to start the day with a heart full of appreciation rather than fear or worry. In essence, waking up at 3 a.m. is not just an interruption to our sleep, but a divine invitation to spiritually, mentally, and emotionally prepare for the day ahead. By taking the time to center ourselves in God's presence, seek His guidance, and align our hearts and minds with His will, we can approach the challenges of the day with a sense of calm, clarity, and confidence. It's a precious moment to invite God into every aspect of our day, ensuring that He is the foundation on which we build our actions, decisions, and interactions. This time of preparation can set the tone for the entire day, helping us navigate life with peace, purpose, and strength. This time of early morning preparation is not just about setting goals or planning our actions for the day. It's also about equipping ourselves with the right mindset and spirit. At 3 a.m., we can reflect on the deeper aspects of our lives, allowing God to reveal any internal shifts that need to happen before we enter the new day. It's a chance to ask ourselves, how do we want to show up today? Do we want to show up in a spirit of kindness, patience, and love? Or do we find ourselves carrying stress, frustration, or bitterness from the day before? This time is about mentally and spiritually resetting, giving us the space to intentionally choose how we engage with the world around us. One powerful way that God may use these early hours to prepare us is by drawing our attention to the people and situations that will need our focus. Sometimes God will place a specific person on our heart in the early morning, prompting us to pray for them, extend kindness, or reach out in a meaningful way. The 3 a.m. wake-up call can be an invitation to center our hearts on others, reminding us that we are not just preparing for our own benefit, but for the impact we can have on those around us. This can give us a greater sense of purpose as we go about our day, knowing that God is calling us to be a source of light and love to those who may need it most. Moreover, the early morning hours give us a moment to connect with God on a deeper level, beyond the typical surface level requests and prayers. It's a time when we can express gratitude, acknowledge our dependence on Him, and invite Him into every moment of the day ahead. God may lead us to specific verses in the Bible or give us a sense of His peace that fills us with confidence for what's to come. This quiet time of reflection allows us to draw closer to God, strengthening our connection with Him and reminding us of His constant presence in our lives. Another benefit of waking up early to prepare for the day is the clarity it provides. Often when we rush into our day without taking a moment to center ourselves, we're prone to make hasty decisions, react out of stress, or lose sight of the bigger picture. But by using the 3 a.m. hours to reflect, pray, and prepare, we're able to face the day with a clear mind. God can give us wisdom and understanding that would otherwise be clouded by the noise of the world. We might feel more equipped to make thoughtful decisions, approach situations with grace, and stay calm in the face of unexpected challenges. This clarity can carry us throughout the day, helping us remain focused and intentional in every moment. The quiet hours before dawn also provide a precious opportunity to be still and allow God's voice to speak to us. We often struggle to hear from God in the busyness of life because our minds are constantly distracted. However, at 3 a.m., in the calm of the night, we can hear God's gentle whisper, guiding us. It may not always be a grand revelation, but in those moments of stillness, God can provide us with the reassurance we need, whether it's through a sense of peace, a specific word of encouragement, or a deep knowing that we are not alone in the challenges we will face. This guidance can be incredibly valuable, shaping the way we move through our day and reminding us that God is always leading us. In addition to the emotional and spiritual preparation, 3 a.m. can be an opportunity to prepare physically as well. If we've been feeling drained or fatigued, it can be a time to pray for physical strength, healing, or energy to get through the day. God may give us the insight to take better care of our bodies, to rest when needed, or to prioritize our health. This holistic approach to preparation, spiritual, emotional, and physical, ensures that we are well equipped to face the day with resilience and grace. The 3 a.m. wake-up call, while seemingly disruptive, is a powerful tool for preparing ourselves in every sense, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. It's a time to reset, reflect, and invite God into every aspect of our day. By taking advantage of this time for intentional preparation, we ensure that we are not only ready to face the challenges ahead, but also positioned to move through the day with clarity, peace, and confidence, knowing that God is with us every step of the way.